folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Two big reports released by special prosecutors in D.C. We've got the David Weiss report on Hunter Biden. We will go through that. It is very damning towards President Trump and Hunter Biden. And then we've got deranged Jack Smith, the special prosecutor appointed to go after, in an unprecedented fashion, President Trump. That is, I'm not going to say damaging to President Trump because it basically proves everything that I've been telling you. This guy has nothing on President Trump. He is so focused on, quote, false claims of President Trump. Even if you took that on its base form, there's no crime against lying. The reality is, though, every claim President Trump made is not baseless. It's based in fact. It's based in truth. It's based in looking at the evidence. And if you go back to the time when the election was unfolding and the days after it, we didn't know what was real and what wasn't. So going after President Trump for making claims about a fraudulent election that we know it was fraudulent because you have 10 million votes that just disappeared is ridiculous to me. I think the big takeaway from deranged Jack Smith's report, though, is that he vindicates President Trump in inciting an insurrection, saying no direct evidence that President Trump would incite a, quote, riot. Well, the mainstream media doesn't want to report on that part of the report. We'll go through all of it today, and we'll go through the Hunter Biden stuff. A lot to go through. Very important day, to say the least. But before we do that, folks, I want to let you go through here. This I want to go through. Try to get it up here. Here it is. Let's see. There we go. My friends over at Colonial Metals. So great to have them as sponsors. Such an important time right now when you look at where the dollar is headed, when you look at where gold is headed, you're looking at uncertainty in the world, and you're looking at what I believe is a run of investment money into a safe haven like gold. Get on board with this, all right? Colonial Metals Group can help you do this. They've been so great to our Rumble community here. So many of Stinchfield's Army members are using Colonial Metals to such success to secure their finances, a portfolio protection maneuver. So get with Colonial Metals. Do it today, and I promise you, you're not going to regret it. It's the only place I go to buy my gold. All right. Colonial Metals Group is the name of the company. The website is freegoldguide.com/grant. freegoldguide.com/grant. Use the QR code up on the screen if you just want to get an easy way to get there. But again, protect your nest egg. Existing 401k, IRA, Colonial Metals Group can help you get through this. All right. freegoldguide.com/grant. We now have Jack Smith's report on President Trump. We now have David Weiss's report on Hunter Biden. Both in their own rights claim to be very damning. I can tell you the David Weiss report on Hunter Biden is very damning, and it's very damning towards Joe Biden. It really shows you how out of bounds Joe Biden was in overseeing and putting pressure on prosecutors surrounding his son's case and ultimately leading to the full and unconditional pardon of Hunter Biden. We'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about deranged Jack Smith. You may remember, this is the classified documents case. This is the quote, and I'm quoting him, criminal scheme to overthrow the election. Those are the two big cases that Jack Smith was investigating. Classified documents case gets thrown out by Judge Eileen Cannon because basically it was bogus. We could go into all the reasons there, but we won't do that. That basically gets thrown out. Still, Jack Smith goes down this road in a 170-something page report explaining why he believes that President Trump would be convicted if these cases went to trial. Now, what I want to remind my friends in the mainstream media is that every prosecutor believes their case will be successful when they take it to court. This is what an indictment is. So here it's a special prosecutor's report. It amounts to nothing more than an indictment. And we know people get off all the time because the indictments are wrong. So don't take Jack Smith's word on its face. I do want to give you one piece of the report that vindicates President Trump. And in many respects, I don't think the mainstream media is going to talk about this at all. It's the part on January 6th, and did President Trump incite an insurrection? Well, we all know he didn't. Remember the terms. Let's all peacefully and patriotically make our way up to the Capitol and let our voices be heard. I've got the line memorized. Peacefully and patriotically let our voices be heard. That's not inciting an insurrection, a riot, or anything like that. But this is a quote from the report. There is, quote, no direct evidence to tie President Trump that he actually tried to incite a riot on January 6th. No direct evidence. Well, we know that. There's not any indirect evidence either that he tried to incite this. So this is why he doesn't go down the insurrection path. He also states in the report they did not charge him on insurrection because it was impossible to overthrow a government when you're currently in power. So, you know what? That was an argument that I've never made. I made plenty of arguments of why this wasn't an insurrection, but I never came to the conclusion that, well, he was already in power. How do you overthrow a government when you're the guy in power? Now, the other side of this is there wasn't an insurrection. You don't overthrow a government when you don't have firearms, you don't have weapons, the most powerful government in world history. You're not going to overthrow with a few people showing up at the Capitol. As you read the report, Jack Smith goes out of his way to insulate himself from Joe Biden and Merrick Garland. So Merrick Garland being the Attorney General, he basically says he made every decision on his own, the decision to prosecute on his own, the decision to charge on his own. He was not under any influence. These are all direct quotes of his. Why? Because he tries to go down the road of making sure that it didn't look like Joe Biden was pulling the shots to go after a political opponent, which we know that he was. Now to the actual case of the criminal scheme to overthrow the election. There's no evidence of this in this report. He says he charged them on all kinds of crimes, and I think it was a total of 40 charges. But you know what these charges amounted to was, again, remember the obstruct an official proceeding? That charge basically got blown apart. So you can't use that. The Supreme Court ruled. False statement to defeat a public function. I don't know the last time any of these charges were ever brought up in court. Injure the right to vote. These are all cockamamie scheme charges because they got nothing on him. The entire case revolved around President Trump making claims that the election was fraudulent. Now, whether it was fraudulent or it wasn't fraudulent, lying is not a crime. So I don't believe President Trump was lying, and I'll tell you why. I've talked to the man on an individual basis going all the way back to just, a month or two after the election. He firmly believed and reiterated to me over and over again this election was stolen and laid out the evidence as to why it was stolen. Much of the evidence he got from me and others like me. He believed it. I know he believed it. But even if you wanted to take Jack Smith, say, okay, go under the assumption that President Trump didn't believe it was stolen. There's no crime against lying. There is under oath. But you're not under oath in front of a TV camera. So whether he was believed it was true or not, that's not a crime. But that's what this whole case is about. Jack Smith writes that he had, quote, strong proof that Trump knew he lost. Okay? He said, quote, there was a quote to Pence that he said, I can't believe I lost to this effing guy. Well, that's not strong proof that you know you lost. You're just saying, I can't believe the outcome is the way it is. Stolen or not stolen. That's not strong proof of some kind of admission. So again, Jack Smith focuses on these, quote, false claims of election fraud when there was no such thing. He also goes out of his way to declare that President Trump did all of these things as a private citizen in the capacity as a candidate, not the president of the United States. You know why he was doing that? Because of presidential immunity. So he wants you to believe, and we all know this is ridiculous. The commander-in-chief has a duty to oversee the elections to make sure that they are 100% free and fair. Then, of course, there's this fraudulent slate of electors, a scheme that Jack Smith calls it. You have very, very well-schooled, well-respected constitutional scholars that believed this was a possibility, this alternate slate of electors. Now, you may not like the idea of it. Jack Smith may think it's unconstitutional, and it may be. I don't think it is. But that's for the courts to decide, not a criminal prosecution of both President Trump. And what have they done in other states? They've prosecuted the attorneys for coming up with a defense for your client. You know what a dangerous road that is to go down? And Jack Smith says he supports the law? I don't think so. Not a chance in hell does he support the law. So this fraudulent state of electors, he says that he points to Arizona and President Trump calling the Secretary of State in Arizona, and he says that he threatened the Arizona Secretary of State when President Trump said, quote, "You know what they did. Not reporting what they did is a criminal offense. We can't let that happen. This is a risk to you." That's a direct quote, allegedly from President Trump to the Arizona Secretary of State. Does that sound like a threat? No, it sounds like a man saying, hey, this election was stolen. Let's do something about it. But again, Jack Smith showed his true colors. He's gone. He's gone over the weekend. This thing dropped at 1 o'clock in the morning, which tells you everything you need to know about this and this bogus case. Then we move to the Hunter Biden situation. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'll tell you what, folks, when I talk about a parallel economy, you want to support the companies that support you and the things we believe in. Get21now.com is one of these companies. Not only are they supporting so many veterans' causes and other causes of freedom and things we believe in, but they're supporting people like you. This plan, this investment program they have where you get 21% paid annually on your investment is absolutely fabulous. I'm taking part of it. I get 21% annualized interest paid monthly. It's mailbox money, I call it. Only it's direct deposited into my bank account every month. They have lived up to their promises to me. I know these guys personally. This is about Bitcoin mining, okay? So you lock in to the rate through your investment. They mine the Bitcoin, they sell it the next day, and they pay you the interest on your money. This is what it's all about, in my opinion. I don't have to deal with the wild swings of Bitcoin, and I have no overhead. In fact, it's passive cash flowing money, passive income. It's what we talk about all the time. It's very important. Get21now.com, pay them a visit, talk to my buddy Corey over there. He's a great guy. But call them back. If they call you, leave a message. Call them back. You want to talk to these folks. Get21now.com. The name of the company's NFN8. I love what I'm doing with them. You'll love what they do for you. Give them a call. NFN8. And the name of the website is Get21now.com. All right, folks, I want to talk about Hunter Biden, all right, and what's going on with him. David Weiss, the special prosecutor, released his report last night. And it is very damning to Joe Biden, the president. This is a multi-year investigation. David Weiss makes it clear that Hunter Biden, quote, broke the law. He criticizes Biden, saying the cases were selective and unfair, for calling the cases selective and unfair, saying that Joe Biden was wrong on that. And he says he's never seen a sitting president malign public servants the way he did. All of this is about the false business deductions, a tax case, and, of course, the gun case. Hunter Biden pled guilty to one. A jury was supposed to decide his fate, and Joe Biden gives an unconditional pardon. David Weiss says that pardon was totally out of line, okay? So this is all interesting stuff. Again, very damning to Joe Biden. I want to go through the details of the David Weiss report into Hunter Biden. I interviewed John Solomon on the Real America's Voice show last night. He's the best guy to go through this stuff. So I'm going to run that interview, and then we'll come back after that. So, again, here is John Solomon.
Hey, Grant, good to be with you.
It's good to be with you, John. What did you make of this report when you got to go through it?
Well, he didn't put a lot of work into it. When you cut it looks like it's 260 pages. Until you cut it down, it's really only 27 pages of substance. It doesn't address a lot of the important questions like, did what Hunter Biden do constitute illegal lobbying, foreign lobbying? He basically kicks all those questions, saying the pardon erased any ability for me to debate those or talk about those. But it's ironic, and let's remember who this report is coming from. It's coming from the man who tried to give Hunter Biden the ultimate sweetheart deal, and it was only because the IRS agents working under his team objected that we ultimately got a serious conviction of Hunter Biden. But that man, the man that actually tried to give Hunter Biden a sweetheart deal, says for history's sake the following three things. Hunter Biden broke the law. Hunter Biden traded his name for money. He basically grifted. And Joe Biden lied, and he tried to revise history. Those are the words this report that I think will matter. No one will remember the ins and outs and the IRS agents all, but the government's final word on this case was it wasn't indeed a corruption case. Hunter Biden did trade on his family name to make money. He didn't show up or do much of work for it. That's another thing the report says. And his father tried to revise history, even suggesting wrongly that his son was pursued politically for prosecution when, in fact, the government believes very strongly he had every right to be prosecuted for tax felon. But the man who wanted to give him a sweetheart deal says that in 27 pages. History will look back at this, no matter what the New York Times wrote, no matter what MSNBC kept saying for days, the conspiracy theory. It was never a conspiracy theory. It was a political corruption case of massive magnitude. And tonight, even with his weak performance throughout as a special prosecutor, David Weiss solidified that for history.
All right. Did it tie Joe Biden to any actions in office that Joe Biden may have taken to engage or let Hunter Biden be more successful in his money schemes, money-making schemes?
Acknowledges that some of these meetings occurred that we've long since reported about. So we know that his father attended the dinners and did some phone calls and other things like that. It doesn't really break any new ground than what you would have seen on Real America's Voice or Just the News over the last 4 or 5 or 6 years when we were writing these stories and people were calling them conspiracy theories. I think the most important part of it is that Hunter Biden didn't do very much work for this money. He did it by trading his political name and the promise of access. And in so doing, he violated the law with taxes particularly. Joe Biden could never get the truth out about it. Joe Biden never told the American people the truth. I think you can see all that in this report. That's about all that's in it.
It's interesting because we wonder how history will actually rewrite these things. And we know the mainstream media does a lot of writing the history, and they're not really honest. I was reading an article from The Hill, John. The Hill writes, quote, you ready for this? There is no evidence that while serving as VP, Biden shifted policy to benefit his son or anyone else. This is a Hill statement, not the report statement. And then I thought to myself, do they not remember this soundbite? John, listen to this.
I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
John, that was about the prosecutor in Ukraine. His son was working for Burisma, that the prosecutor was investigating.
That's my story.
I mean,
I broke that original story. I'm the one who found that. I found that video clip. And at the time I found it, I was working at the same Hill newspaper you're talking about now. But they repudiated my reporting. They suggested there was something wrong with my reporting. I think history has shown everything I wrote from 2019 forward was solid. But I found that video. That was the first video in my first story that kicked off the whole Hunter Biden scandal in 19. Then the laptop came in 2020. And that statement today in The Hill, again, I'm not their editor anymore. I have nothing to do with it. But I will tell you this, it's not true. There is overwhelming evidence in the documents I obtained from the National Security Council and the State Department that Joe Biden did change policy. His advisors had decided to give the $1 billion to Ukraine. Joe Biden himself made a decision not to give that money and to threaten to withhold it to force the firing. That's in the documents of the Obama White House that I turned up about a year and a half ago. So even that part of the passage, but what better way for the media to be remembered than even on this night, they can't quite get it right.
They still can't get it right. And, you know, look, I was a mainstream media reporter for a long time, and I know about attribution. You could have used the old reporter trick. Biden staffers say he didn't change policy. You could have attributed it to somebody. They don't even attribute it to anybody. They state it as fact, and it just isn't fact. You know where we get just the facts? The same place we get just the news and no noise from you, John Solomon. I appreciate you, my
Thank
friend.
you. It's a great honor to be
coming
with
on
you, Grant. Thanks, buddy.
Wow, the feeling is mutual. It absolutely is. I will tell you what, folks, Energized Health has literally changed my life through intercellular hydration. More than that, they've given me a roadmap to take my life back. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks on the Energized Health system. So I go through the entire program, right? 88 days, and I'm still keeping the weight off. I'm hydrated now at a cellular level, and this is the secret. I call it the science with the secret, okay? Intercellular hydration. Go to energizedhealth.com/Grant to learn what it's all about. Take that weight off, gain muscle mass, mental clarity, skin clears up. The most amazing things happen as you transform your body through the Energized Health program. Do you know they have a 99.1 success rate? That's great, and it's why they give you a 100% money-back guarantee if you're not happy or not successful with the program. So give them a call. I love these guys, energizedhealth.com. I know the founders personally, and they can help you take back your life. energizedhealth.com/Grant. Looking to make a change with your body? Get with energizedhealth.com/Grant. Folks, listen to me. Are you angry with LA's wealthiest folks hiring private firefighters at a rate of $2,000 an hour to protect their property? Well, I'm not mad at these people, but there are all kinds of critics out there right now bemoaning this idea that they would do this. Now, remember Rick Caruso, the developer who ran for mayor and should have won. He wouldn't have been the greatest mayor, but he would have been better than Mayor Bass. He hired private firefighters to protect the Palisades Mall. And he saved his entire development there for this. So apparently, private firefighters are getting $2,000 an hour for the crews to take a tanker truck, foam, fire retardant, whatever you need, and they're staging in front of people's houses and saving them. Now, these multi-million-dollar mansions, I don't blame these people for doing this. This is the free market. You know what I'm upset about? I'm upset that people have to do this. You know, when we talk about what is the role of government, all right, there's certain roles for the federal government, certain roles for a state government. What is the role for the local government? To me, the role for a local government is very simple. Make sure my roads are running. Make sure I've got water, in many cities is garbage too. Some cities privatize the garbage pickup, but make sure I got water. Okay, make sure my roads are good. Make sure I'm protected with police and fire. And then there are needs for zoning regulations. I'm not going to tell you don't want to have a zoning department, right? So you make sure that you don't have chaos in the streets, whether it's building or whatever else it might be. That's it for a local. So a big part of that, though, is police and fire. And it takes up, no surprise, large portions of local cities and towns' budgets. When your city and town cannot provide you the security that you pay for in taxes, and Lord knows L.A. residents pay a whopper in taxes, then I guess you got to do what you got to do to take matters into their own hands. Now, some of these people, they have this firefighting protection as part of their insurance plan. So think about it. If you own a $50 million home, this is not a bad idea to add this to your plan. I mean, if you own a $50 million home, I would imagine you could afford just about anything, right? Money is literally no object to you. Well, there's a company called Service 6. I would actually love to get them on the program, Service 6, to talk to them about this. They said their phone has been ringing off the hook You've got a real estate investor who lives in L.A. His name's Keith Wasserman. I don't recognize the name. I don't know. Some of you may. He's a multi-million-dollar real estate guy. He put a post on X, and oh, my God, the hate that came to him for this post. It basically said, quote, does anyone have access to private firefighters to protect our home in Pacific Palisades? Need to act fast here. All neighbors' houses burning. Will pay any amount. Thank you. He later deleted his X account. 855-785-8255. I'd love to know what you think about this. 855-785-8255. I mean, look, as of yesterday, we've got over 2,000 structures burned, reaching $150 billion. They believe the economic impact will be $850 billion of all of this. And we're not done. The winds are coming like you have not seen today. So California leadership failed. So these private citizens pick up where they couldn't. Why are you going to fault somebody for hiring someone to protect their house? It's no different than the neighborhood that bands together and pays a monthly fee to make sure they got an LA cop or an off-duty police officer to come into their neighborhood and patrol at random times of the day. No different than that. But people are mad at this group. For doing it. Then there's the race card that's being played. So the fires in Southern California, clearly top story, right? I respond with, let's hold leaders accountable. Let's figure out what happened so it doesn't happen again. And let's make sure we try to do everything we can do to keep people safe. Well, have you ever heard of this woman, Yvette Nicole Brown? I had not heard of her. She's best known for her role as Shirley Bennett on the NBC sitcom Community. So TMZ caught up with Brown along with Deliver Us from Eva actress Kim Whitley. Maybe Whiteley, I don't know. Only because many of you are just listening, not watching, I'm going to tell you that these are two black actresses in L.A. They're specifically asked about black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who cut the fire budget, no water in the fire hydrants, focused on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense, not focused on saving people. Do you want to hear what they say? Listen to this.
Let me tell you something. She's got a spine of steel.
Yes.
And she's also been a black woman in America a very long time. So none of this is new to her. We're mad because we're tired of it.
We're tired for her.
But we're mad for her. And we're going to stand. Listen, I don't know how you're here, but I'm happy you're here. Because somebody needs to
stand, behind her and support her. Because how she handling it, you can see it in her face. She stays calm. But think about this. She has the city to take care of. She does not have time to hear from these reporters.
And she is also not mayor of every municipality in California.
Yes.
There are people that are mad that she didn't fix the fires in Malibu. She's not the mayor of Malibu.
You're right.
What is she supposed to do in a city she's not the mayor of?
People don't understand.
And let me say this too. I could imagine how much it would hurt to see this happening in the city that she loves. That's first. So take away how it feels for people to attack her. She's heartbroken because this is happening in her city, a city that she loves. And
the people don't understand. They don't understand how large it is, because a lot of people are sitting in other parts of the city. They're not in it. They're not in the fire. They're not in the smoke. They don't see. They're not there. They're watching TV. Why? And they want to blame someone. This is not the time to blame. It's time to get some resources. She has reached out far. We have planes coming in from other countries to help us.
All right, pause this for a second.
This is not the time. I need everybody to...
Pause this. Where was the part where she says she's got a spine of steel? She's also a black woman in America for a very long time. Can you find that part for me, Dan? She's got a spine of steel, and she's also been a black woman in America for a long time, so none of this is new to her. We're mad because we're tired of it. We're mad for her. Maybe that was right off the top, and I missed it. That might have been right off the top. They go down the road of defending Karen Bass, that we're somehow racist because we're attacking her. She was in Africa when it broke out, okay? Let's not forget that. And they're upset with reporters asking her questions. The people can't ask her questions individually. So the reporters ask the questions. So she can be on TV so the people that can't ask the questions can now see her. These two women are idiots when it comes to this.
Let me tell you something. She's got a spine of steel.
A spine of steel. Yeah, a spine of steel. No, she doesn't. She's an amoeba with no leadership skills whatsoever. Again, it's maddening. All of it is maddening. Everything's got to be about race somehow. We're attacking Karen Bass because she's black. Well, then what's our excuse for attacking Gavin Newsom? He's a lily white cracker. What's my excuse for attacking Gavin Newsom then? Is that racism too? I mean, none of this makes sense. We're attacking them because they have failed over and over and over again. All right, folks, I want you to pay a visit to Patriot Mobile because Patriot Mobile is getting it done when it comes to supporting the things that we believe in, all right? This is a company that is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. As I always say, if you are still with the big three cell phone companies, you're helping to fund the woke left. Why would you do that? They engage in DEI practices. They fund things like Planned Parenthood. They donate to liberal causes. Why don't you join a group like Patriot Mobile when it comes to your cell phone service? I'm a Patriot Mobile customer, and I'm proud of it. It's like being part of a team. Stinchfield's Army, our only form of communication is using a Patriot Mobile-based phone, all right? I've got my iPhone here. I've got 2 numbers on it, 2 different networks. That's called the Patriot One plan. 1 phone, 2 lines. Only Patriot Mobile can do that for you. Again, America's Christian conservative wireless provider. They are thinkers and believers in the same things that we are. It's about a parallel economy. Support the companies that support us, and they've been big supporters of this program. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That's the website, PatriotMobile.com/Grant, or just call them at 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code GRANT for free activation, and tell them I sent you. Why does everything have to be about race, folks? We have wildfires in California. We got to turn this into a race deal? Do people not see the failures at every level when you think about raising the insurance premiums on people that literally forced insurance companies out of the state, canceling people's fire insurance? Who do you lay that blame on? You lay that blame on the white talk show host doing morning drive radio in Los Angeles, me and Jen? Or do you lay that blame on lawmakers in Sacramento? White ones, by the way. Gavin Newsom. So maybe I'm racist because I blame it on white Gavin Newsom. Uh-oh. Or do you blame it on Karen Bass for not having water in the fire hydrants? The head of the water department, who, as we just learned, makes $750,000 a year so we can have empty reservoirs because they're fixing the lid. It takes months. This has been since February of last year, I believe, that reservoir has been closed down, coming into a horrible wildfire season. And by the way, today we're expecting to have even higher winds, more fire danger. All 4 Southern California counties that we service are now under extreme fire watch. Red flag warning would be an understatement. When I think of red flag warnings, I think of, okay, it's not really a great day for me to surf. These red flag warnings are, you better hope and pray that a fire doesn't start near you because it's going to spread, no pun intended, like wildfire. But no, these 2 actresses, Yvette Nicole Brown and Kim Whitley, I don't know, I guess they're sitcom stars. I never even heard of them. Who cares? 2 black ladies were very upset that we're criticizing Karen Bass. Roll the most important clip.
Let me tell you something. She's got a spine of steel.
Yes.
And she's also been a black woman in America a very long time. So none of this is new to her. We're mad because we're tired of it.
We're mad for her.
But we're mad for her. And we're going to stand.
Okay. And she knows what she's dealing with because she's been a black woman for a long time. You're mad? We're mad. We're mad all this happened. Then now apparently, because they're $50 million homes, you have people like Maxine Waters, who, by the way, I'm sure is getting funded by the people who own those $50 million homes. She's going to come on and say that these rich folks, that's what they are, and we shouldn't criticize them for being rich. I want everyone to make as much money as possible. Are you ready for this? They did not pay enough money in taxes.
Let me tell you something. I'm not in the business of protecting anybody. And I think that my work over the years that I've been involved have been absolutely on point in dealing what has to be dealt with in order to help the people. First thing you got to understand is services cost money. And we should be willing to get the richest people in this country, the richest 1% that is protected, make sure they pay their fair taxes so that we can have the money to provide the services. With that money and with those resources, the people who have been selected or elected to do the job should do the job. I don't care who it is. It could be Democrat, it could be Republican, it could be whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we all should have heavy hearts right now.
Okay. I got a heavy heart. I got a heavy heart for anybody that has you as their elected leader. Do you know the top 1% of earners in America today pay the IRS 40% of all federal income taxes that they take in? And that does not include the businesses that they own, that pay other taxes, that really should be attributed to the top 1%. I think the number is going to be pushing 80% of the taxes. How much more do the people in LA have to pay? Do you know you own a $6 million house, $8 million house? God bless you if you do. It's not even the most expensive house in California anymore. But if you own one of those, what's your taxes in LA? $120,000 a year? $120,000? You think you could have a fire truck outside if there's a fire? My Lord. 855-785-8255. Firecracker. Thank you for calling in. What say you, Firecracker?
You know I love you, Brand. You know I love you. Happy 2025. But I'm pissed off this morning. I've been with my hero firefighters. Wait a minute. It is Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom's fault. Everyone's been checking on me, too. And I told them the same thing I'm saying to you. I love you, and I love my hero family. But let's be clear. My firefighters, they're not first responders. They're heroes. They're out there fighting those fires. And it is their fault. Yes, Jesus allowed the wind to happen, but Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom needs to be fired and go to prison. Get off the race car crap. That's evil and wickedness. They are actually out there dying. Grant, you know me. I've been on TV face. I love my firefighters. I'm the one visiting them. They're devastated. They have to pick and choose because they don't have water in the
wait a second.
water hose, and they don't have enough water. Let's be real. Let's be real here.
Firecracker, you're a black woman. Am I right?
I'm Navajo, black and white. Amen. I am.
Okay.
And everyone knows that about me. I have never played that race. I tell America. I have been telling everyone. They've been calling. Firecracker, you say yes, but let's be clear. What you see on the news is not a lie. They are running out of water. That is Karen Bass and on Gavin Newsom. And everyone voted for them. Now they know. I told them not to vote for those freaks. You got that right. I'm Navajo, black and white. And I have never, you know I love you too much. I have never got a race car. I don't even know what that means. Really. They're even wicked. They need to go to prison.
Do you know what I love about Firecracker? She's Navajo black, and she still loves me, this white cracker, even though everybody calls me a racist. You still love me, don't you?
Thank you, and you're not.
Thank you,
You are the most kind, loving, and Jen, and all of them there. That's why I'm telling you, you are even wicked. You do nothing. You do, and then you try to pull that race car crap. That is not going to fly.
Thank you,
I always tell you, two things, death and taxes. You're going to die, and after you die, someone will pay your taxes. Get over it. This is America. I've been on the border. Really? Really? I love President Trump. Everyone knows that, too. I'm sure he's back.
All right, Firecracker. I appreciate you. You are the best. You know I love you right back at you, and I love her passion. If everybody had the passion the Firecracker had, you know how great this country would be. Seriously, you know how great this country would be if you had the love of this country? The same love the Firecracker has? Man, oh man. Now, I will say, I want to reiterate this. If you're a firefighter out there, thank you. God bless you. My criticisms, my criticisms are not of the men and women on the line fighting these fires. My criticism are of top brass, county leadership, city leadership, and state leadership. I am not critical of the men that put that gear on, put those boots on, and head into very, very dangerous places to keep us safe. You know, they were put in precarious positions. And we don't talk enough about the danger that Karen Bass and top brass inside L.A. Fire Department put our own men and women. Because of budget cuts, and let's not forget the chief. Everybody wants to love the chief now because she's turning on Karen Bass. She didn't pre-deploy the firefighters like she should have. She's the one who okayed much of the budget going to diversity, equity, and inclusion, paying an assistant chief $400,000 a year to run a diversity office. Are you kidding me? She's the one who did that, the chief. So I still blame her for this. And when you have a diversity office and you have 60 vehicles that are down, you have fired firefighters who didn't take the vax, at least 24 of them that could be fighting these fires right now. I interviewed one of them on the Real America's Voice program last night. I should get some of the audio from that. His name's John Knox. Great guy. And he was very critical of what's happening right now. Let's go out to Vincent in L.A., line 3. What say you, Vincent?
I just wanted to say that I actually like a system where the public services that are shared from the government are done in such a way that they focus on the poor communities first, and the wealthy communities should have to pay for their own private security. They should pay for their own private firefighters. They should be the ones funding, and that's how they create jobs. Not
well, let me ask you a question, Vincent. Why should you? I want to ask a question. Why should you be punished because you're wealthy?
What? I'm sorry, say it again?
Why should you be punished because you're wealthy? And that's what you're doing, right? It's a form of punishment that you're going to make somebody else pay more than their fair share. So why should they be punished? Why would we not give them protection when they're paying the taxes?
It's not punishment. It's about sharing the services in a way that doesn't.
But you didn't say share them. You didn't say share them. You said give them to the poor people first. Let them have private security. That's not sharing. That's saying you don't get any. You have to go hire your own.
Grant, do you know what the top marginal tax rate was under Reagan before he destroyed it?
What was it?
It was 73%. Do you know what he moved it to?
What did he move it to?
27%.
Okay, great. And so that's why I love Reagan. That's why I love Reagan. Yeah, but I'm curious. I just want to understand. I just want to understand that. I just want to understand. Do you believe in equality?
Of course.
Well, then this is not equality. This is not equality at all. You're saying one group has to pay more than the other. It's not equality.
Yes, absolutely. They have the money.
Well, then you don't believe in equality.
Survive that.
What do you describe yourself as? You describe yourself as a liberal, as a Marxist?
I'm a liberal.
A liberal, okay. And you listen to this program. Do you get angry with this program a lot?
Yeah, I find it entertaining. I've listened for 20 years here.
Listen to me. I'm so glad you do. But in the end, what you want is you want to take from one group and give to another group because maybe you feel sorry for the other group, but you want to punish then one group, and it isn't fair to punish one group in order to help another. That's what charity is. That's what charity is. And when government did he hang up? I guess it's my luck that he hung up. And you know what else I did? I spilled my freaking coffee as I was getting all fired up about this. I love these kind of conversations because they can't win. They say they want equality, but nothing's equal about it.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/grant. Promo code TWC.grant. That's TWC.health/grant. Promo code GRANT.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for watching Stinchfield, the podcast. Don't forget GrantStinchfield.com is the website, GrantStinchfield.com. We will see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. We'll have complete coverage of Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearings, and we'll get more in detail of this 2 reports dropped on President Trump and Hunter Biden. That on the Real America's Voice show tonight. Again, GrantStinchfield.com. So great seeing you. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of you. We'll see you tomorrow.